rely on our board members to be responsible. So whenever possible is one of the questions. You could have taken that out and say will. That's one possibility. And I think I'd like to listen to comment from both of you. If you don't like the whenever possible and believe it should be will, and that should be deleted, that should go back to the drawing board and we should consider it. Then following that same talk, having the whole board decide if it's excused or unexcused is a little late when the notification can and does only come to the board president, the board secretary, and the board's executive assistant, because that's practical.
Right. And so
I'd like to speak if that's all right for a moment, being on the policy committee and having been there for that meeting. I don't know, Dr. Callahar and Martin, if you recall, I asked that sentence be moved to the second paragraph because it makes more sense that if an extended leave of absence or time off of the board needs to happen, then that is the time that the board would take a vote on something, as the example states, illness, military, active or training, military duty, etc. So I asked for that last sentence, a majority of the board may excuse a board member's extended absence, to be moved to the second paragraph, because that is the time that it makes sense for the board to come together to, quote, excuse an absence. But furthermore, the email that we received from Abigail Westbrook, Ms. White asked for language to clarify remote attendance. And it's no secret that the entire reason this policy was put forward was because of my remote attendance. And it was part of the attempt to kick me off the board, as the three of you were attempting to do. So when Ms. White asked for clarification in sample language that increases the restrictions on remote attendance, she said she does not have sample language, and I'm reading straight from her email. Although the board could decide to do so, I would recommend proceeding cautiously, being mindful of the reasons that a person might need to attend remotely and not creating unnecessary hardships for someone in such circumstances. Another thing that we spoke about, I found very interesting, is that there are multitudes of board members, apparently, across the state that are, well, maybe not much multitudes, but enough that it was noted, that are snowbirds. So they spend a good portion of their year in their district attending meetings, but when they are out of town for the winter time, they attend remotely, which is another reason that she cautioned that we not put restrictions on, as you said, Laura, adult, duly elected people who are supposed to take their responsibility seriously.
that makes sense, what you just said, moving that sentence to the second paragraph, it makes more sense. I just feel like if we're going to have a designation between unexcused and excused absence, it doesn't seem to follow what the difference is. I mean, if there's no difference between an excused and an unexcused absence, why bother?
I agree with Laura's comment. And on Abigail Westbrook, I wasn't involved in the communication between Ms. Westbrook. I'm assuming she represents SWASTA. In regards to the type of attendance, I think it'd be worth the idea of presenting it to our district legal counsel and see how they feel expressing whether it's remote or in person. Because the reality is, we know that meetings in person are different than meetings remote. We've all experienced it. And then the challenging of scheduling also. So I think it's worth asking legal counsel, district legal counsel, to see if there's what are the legalities of adding remote versus in person.
And the legal counsel you'd like to use is the legal counsel that wrote up a resolution to remove me from the board.
If we can consult the district legal counsel. Okay, next is board communications. And before we make our rounds, I want to just touch base on a meeting we had in response to the September 26th regular board meeting. So on October 16th, Dr. Kelleher, myself met with Katherine Thomas for a fact-finding meeting regarding Katherine's residency. The meeting was in result of the September 26th regular board meeting. During the meeting, I asked Katherine the following three questions, and I will follow up with her response. Where is your primary residence? And she identified Canyon Road, Wenatchee. What is your voter registration? Is your voter registration valid in the state of Washington and Chelan County? Her response was yes. Through your family's ongoing transition to Texas, do you feel that you have violated board policy 1113 or 1815 or any other policy in any way? Her response was no. So, given the responses, no further action will be taken by the board on this matter. Katherine?
At the September 26th board meeting, I was blindsided with an attempt by Laura, Martin, and Maria to remove me from the board. A resolution was written by Danielle Marchant at the direction of Laura, and I assume the cooperation of Martin and Maria. The resolution was written and the district was charged for the work done by the law firm, a very large amount, without ever bothering to ask me if any of the Facebook posting was true. This all began with a Facebook posting by a woman who calls herself the devil. I'm not sure why she's chosen me to target, maybe because I've been referred to as the Grace City Church affiliated board member, or because I'm one of the only two conservatives on the board. But regardless, this person's Facebook postings were enough to instigate this entire debacle, turning attention away from the district, the work of the district educators, and away from our students. Drawing attention to the board, dramatic, embarrassing, unnecessary attention that distracts from the work of the district. I'm embarrassed by it, not because I've done anything wrong, but because members of this board are so politicized and petty that they would waste time, attention, and worst of all, the district's money, the students' money, taxpayers' money on this, frankly, garbage. Garbage posted on Facebook by someone referring to herself as the devil, who, by the way, proudly endorses Martin and Maria for re-election. I felt very strongly that this needed to be addressed. And I find it also disturbing that, Maria, you're willing to put forward more attention to this by wanting the policy committee or the policy on attendance to be reviewed by a lawyer again, wasting more of the district's money. I just find it so disheartening that this issue, this attention was given to this issue when there were literally 3 board meetings left. I have 1 board meeting left. So I think it's worth considering maybe paying back the district for the funds that were wasted on this resolution. That's all.
Thank you, Katherine. So